Hi, I'm David Ludlow, and this is MathDragon. I'm going to show you how to do unit conversions in MathDragon. Here's our example equation. This right here is exponential decay, and with a little something added onto it. So, let's say that A naught was 24 grams of carbon, but we wanted A naught to be in units of atoms of carbon. So, normally what we would do on paper is that we would put the 24 grams of carbon over here, and we would do dimensional analysis, because 12 grams of carbon equals 1 mole of carbon, because the atomic weight of carbon is 12. That's the little number on the periodic table. And 1 mole always equals 6.02 times 10 to the 23 of anything. And then we get our answer when we plug it into the calculator. But we're not going to do the calculator, we're going to use MathDragon. So I already typed out how to do it in MathDragon so that I wouldn't have to bore you by typing it out in front of you. Here's the 24 grams of carbon. Here is this part of the dimensional analysis. And here is this part of the dimensional analysis. And when we press OK, we see that it cancels out all of the units that needed to be canceled out, and it crunches the numbers down into something that agrees with this, 1.02 times 10 to the 24th. So this is really good. And when we write it out like this, we don't have to write it out on paper. But let's say that we did want to write it on paper, because really this is a really awesome way to do unit conversions. And someday I'm going to change the program so that doing unit conversions looks more like this. But for today, this is how we do it. And also, learning how to type it out this way, right here, is an important skill for other programs as well. Like, this is how I do unit conversions in Mathematica when I'm using Mathematica. But let's say that you did want to just write it out on paper. Then what you could do is you could, after you're done writing it on paper, just type in the numbers and not any of the units. So see how I'm getting rid of all the things that aren't numbers. And that works too. So once you do your unit conversion, you can drag it in to substitute it. But it's very important that you solve all of your equation completely symbolically, including all substitutions into other equations, before you do that substitution right there, because it's very bad style to substitute numbers in to your equation before your equation is completely solved for symbolically in every single way possible. So let's go back to what we had before. This is just exactly what we had before, because I want to point out a common mistake, and that is forgetting the parentheses right there and right there. So many people make this mistake. So many, like 90%. And it's very easy to do, because right now what it reads is it reads divided by 12 and then multiplied by grams of carbon. But that's bad. We want grams of carbon to be on the bottom of that fraction. So it's very important to have the parentheses there so that grams of carbon is on the bottom of the fraction with the 12. That is so easy to forget. We don't need the parentheses over here because there's only one thing, but it's so easy to forget those parentheses. Don't forget that. I'm like dead serious. Don't forget that. Okay. So when we press OK this way, we have carbon and atoms still in the answer over here. So when we do the substitution, the carbons and the atoms follow it, and as you can see, it still remains when it's evaluated out as much as possible. You see, it's not able to do this addition properly because 555 isn't multiplied by C and multiplied by atoms. You see, it doesn't actually know that carbon and mole and atoms are units. It thinks that they are variables. And so it can't do this addition because it doesn't know the value of C and atoms. So the way to do that is to, since they're just units, get rid of them by setting them equal to 1. And then it'll evaluate out just nicely. But it doesn't get rid of them over here, and so when you're doing all your work, it doesn't mess you up. It's a good solution. So just set them equal to 1 so that they don't bug you. Okay, now you can stop listening to this screencast right now if you want. I'm going to explain the cool, hardcore way to do unit conversions. This is the way that I like to do unit conversions when I use MathDragon. I'm a programmer, and so this 24 right here is very bad. It's called hard coding if you put a number like 24 right here. It's a programming term, hard coding is. So how I would do it is I would say A0 in grams. That's way it's not a hard-coded in number. Then I can do my substitution, and I need to give A0 in grams a value. Let's give it the same value of 24, and we get the same answer. So works the same, but what's really cool about doing it this way is that, let's say that I wanted to compare answers with my neighbor, and he didn't have 24 grams of carbon, he had 25 grams of carbon. Then all I have to do is change that number in that one spot, and it gives me that answer. It's so easy, just changing it in one spot. Yeah, I definitely like doing it this way. So that's all for today. Please feel free to go to this to get a hold of me, to ask me about any questions, or to give me feedback so that I can improve, because I really need feedback so that I can improve. And thanks you very much.